Atomic Habits from James Clear is basically a manual to better habits and therefore a better life. Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. Today we are going to talk about this very interesting book that some of you maybe already heard of, and I really liked reading it. It was light-hearted, contained a lot of examples, but on the other hand also scientific facts and survey findings, and therefore it seems like the perfect manual for better habits. But generally, motivation without action is nothing. So therefore, in my opinion, it is more important to have a look at how good the advice can be implemented in everyday life. So in this video I'm going to give you a little review, and afterwards we are going to take a look at the implementation. If you are interested in the practical part only, please check out the time codes in the description box down below. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the basic idea is to get better and improving life with little habits. By applying good habits and getting better by only 1% on a daily basis, this progress accumulates over time. If you can get better 1% each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. On the other hand, if you get 1% worse each day for 1 year, you'll decline nearly down to 0. Furthermore, an important idea is to focus on systems instead of goals. The distinction between those two can be a bit tricky, but basically, goals focus on the results you want to achieve, whereas systems focus on the process. A few problems can arise when you spend too much time thinking about your goals and not enough time designing your systems. Because goals do not distinguish the winner from the loser. Most of the time, both have them, maybe even the exact same ones. James Clear states that, for example, if a basketball team that wants to win the championship ignores the goal but focuses only on getting better at practices each day, it would still get results. Also, achieving a goal is only a temporary change. For example, you set a goal to clean your room. Even if you find the energy to tidy up, you fix the outcome only in the moment. What actually needs to change are the bad habits that led to a messy room in the first place. Now let's take a look at how habits are formed. There is a concept called the habit loop, and all habits proceed through 4 stages, always in the same order. First, there is a cue. This is something that triggers the brain to an action. Cravings are the second step, and the motivational force behind every habit. Cues and cravings differ from person to person. The third step is the response and the actual habit that we perform. It could be a thought or an action. Finally, the response delivers a reward, which are the end goals of every habit. The craving is actually about wanting the reward. So, this is basically how habits work. And our brain is constantly scanning the environment, predicting what will happen next, trying out different responses, and learning from the results. If you want to dig deeper and find out more about why we act in a certain way, you can find a link to the book in the description box down below. So, for each stage of the feedback loop, the book offers principles that are designed to help us form and maintain better habits. And there's even an inversion to each principle or law, how the author calls it, that should help us to break our bad habits. Sounds good to me, but the question is, how good are those recommendations applicable in everyday life? I wanted to change my eating habits for quite a long time now, and I don't really know how it happened, but somehow I became addicted to snacking, sugar, and processed food. And until now, all attempts to change this bad habit have failed. So I'm looking forward to try out the recommendations given in the book and see if they can help me losing this bad habit. Okay, so the habit I want to obtain is to cook a healthy meal 3 times a week. And don't eat more than 25 grams of sugar per day. The first law is called make it obvious. And first and foremost, we have to form an implementation intention and determine the exact time and location of the behavior we are keen on doing. Let's look at my example. I will cook a healthy meal on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday in my kitchen. It is highly recommended to do habit stacking, which means that we should think about activities that we already now can do effortlessly without interruption and pair them with an action that we need to do or that will lead us to a new habit. In my case, I wrote down after I finish working at 12 a.m., I will cook a healthy meal. And last but not least, we have to design our environment in a way that it contains a lot of clues that will lead us to our new or desired habit. I'm going to prepare a recipe the night before and putting it next to my computer or the fridge. To break a bad habit, we should cut the cues and reduce exposure. In my case, I won't buy any sweets anymore and reduce the amount of processed food that I'm going to buy. As for the remaining sweets, I'm going to put them in a big box and lock them away. The next step is to make it attractive. Therefore, we can use temptation bundling, which means that we take an action that we want to do and pair it with an action that we need to do. I will watch YouTube videos while cooking. And also, there is the possibility to do something that we really enjoy right before the habit. I'll choose to eat some berries or other fruits right before cooking. Now it's important to find a way to make the bad habits unattractive and reframe the mindset. In my case, I thought about how eating too much sugar on a daily basis can lead to many health problems such as a fatty liver, diabetes, and caries. Now let's move on to the third law, which is called make it easy. And the book offers quite a lot of options and possibilities to make a habit easy. But for me, I decided to try out the 2 minutes rule, which is basically about scaling down a habit or breaking down a habit until it can be done in 2 minutes. The idea behind this is that starting with something is the hardest point, but after we do so, we are very likely to continue an action.
I will wash and chop the veggies the night before. To change a bad habit, it could be helpful to increase the friction. Because as humans, we are quite lazy creatures. That's why this works pretty well. Here I have the box with the remaining sweets. I will wrap it as beautifully as I can, and hopefully this will increase the friction for me to go and just take something out of there.
Last but not least, we have the law to make it satisfying. And principle number 1 is to use reinforcement in giving yourself an immediate reward. For me, the reward will be my delicious meal, but also I'm going to do a bit of meal prepping so that the next 1 or 2 days I won't have to cook, and this is also kind of a reward for me. Using a habit tracker is principle number 2.
I downloaded this app, and here I will track my calories whenever I cook.
It is very important to never miss twice, and even if we forgot about a habit one day, the next day it is very essential that we get back on track immediately. Here I'm going to do a little adjustment for myself, because the most important thing is to eat healthy. But if one day we decide to go to the restaurant instead of cooking at home, but still order something healthy, this won't count as a missed habit or cheating. But of course it would be better cooking at home.
On the other hand, to make a habit unsatisfying, there is the proposal to create a habit contract and make the costs of a bad habit painful.
So this is the plan for the next 21 days, and although James Clear explains in his book that there is no period of time after an action becomes a habit, more important is the frequency of repetition and consistency, of course. But a lot of other sources state that 21 days is a good measure, and I'm going to orientate myself on that. This sounds so good to me, and I'm highly motivated to find out whether those principles will work and help me with my habits. There is definitely part 2 coming, so stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to find out whether this little experiment works out. Until then, I wish you a good time and see you soon.